Super League Raw proudly present the most comprehensive pre-round build-up to the Betfred Super League Round 2, the Captain's Run. On this week's show, the big one is tonight as the World Club Challenge comes to the MKM Stadium. Will it be the Robins or the Broncos who rule the world? Then on Friday, he's back to Super League as the Catalan Dragons look to flame grill the Bradford Bulls at Hudsall. At a Brewdog Stadium, St Helens welcome the Leigh Leopards. Hastings versus Lamb, round 1 is going to be epic. The York Knights visit the Leeds Rhinos, dreaming of going 2 from 2. But beware, Mika Sivo is expected to make his long-awaited debut. Then it's off to France as the triumphant Toulouse Olympique host a Castleford Tigers side already deprived of its marquee signing for 2026. Can the Tigers rise to meet this challenge? Saturday night promises to be an incredible encounter between Wigan Warriors and Hull FC, with some of the best wingers in the league set to do battle on the field of play. And finally, who will record their first win of the season as the Giants host Trinity on Sunday afternoon? In-depth analysis, passionate debate and round 2 predictions. It's now time for the Captain's Run. Well, there you go. I don't know why Sharpie's laughing. What's Sharpie laughing for? Where's my camera gone? What's going on here? But anyway, I don't know what's going on with my camera. That's a bit annoying. Oh, I'll tell you what. Probably best if I turn it on. Hang on. Does it let me turn it on? No. Going on here. This is odd. Bizarre. Do apologise. Don't know what's going on here. I tell you. Anyway, what a great start to the show that is. Good evening, gentlemen. With me tonight is Steph and Alex. Good evening, gentlemen. Are you well?
All good, mate.
Yeah, not as good as me, clearly. Having a few issues here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get this sorted. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Whilst we're doing that, Steph, Alex, why don't you get us underway? Massive game tonight, of course, at the MKM Stadium. The Hull KR taking on the Brisbane Broncos. Steph, how excited are you for this game?
Yeah, we're counting down the clock now till 6:30. It's going to be an epic show beforehand. What a treat for every rugby league fan to see the best team in England go up against the best team in Australia. It should be an absolute cracker, and I'm sure you're just as excited, Alex.
Yeah, it's been good. Like you say, they've won the treble. So obviously last year they were the very best team in England. So it's good to see them go up against the NRL team. Hopefully, no, we're not talking about the referee. We'll let rugby do the talking and no injuries as they've got a massive game again next week. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer, boys. There you go. Finally got myself sorted. Do apologise. Don't know what happened there. I tell you, madness. Welcome to everybody as well on the podcast. The pack show, as always, here. The Captain's Run, the number 1 build-up. And yeah, I mean, what a game. What a game. Let's do it. Here it is. Couldn't be any bigger. Couldn't be any better. World Club Challenge 2026. A full and packed MKM Stadium await the Gladiators this evening as they enter the field of play. It should be an absolute belter. There's just so much quality, boys, on show. Let's take a look at the teams. I mean, surprisingly, Brisbane not announced their starting 17 as yet. Normally they do that on a Thursday. They've seen nothing. All they've done is announce their squad going into tonight, keeping their aces well and truly up the sleeve. However, KR have done that. They have announced their team. So for the purposes of the podcast, let's go through it. 1 Arthur Moore, Tom Davies and Joe Burgess on the wing. Peter Hiku, Oliver Gildart will be in the centre position. Mikey Lewis, Tyrone May the halves. Jesse Sue and Tom Amone on debut for Hull KR tonight. What a game to have your debut. I'm sure Steph will be talking about that in a minute. Jez Litton, the superstar at number 9. Dean Hadley back. That's a bonus as well for KR tonight. He's in second row alongside James Batchelor, Elliot Minchella. He is, of course, loose forward, the captain. On the bench, Sam Luckley, Jai Whitbread, Reece Martin and Carl Lawton. Boys, I mean, it's as good as KR could have hoped for, Steph. And like I said there, massive game this for Tom Amone.
Yeah, huge game. What a game to make your debut in for KR. But I think this is a real opportunity for Tom to really endear himself to the KR fans. If he puts in a monster performance tonight, then he'll quite quickly become a cult hero like he was at Leigh. He needs a big performance for me. He was good at Cass, but I don't think he got to the standards he was at when he was at Leigh. Obviously, injuries played a part in that for him as well. But he looks to have had a good pre-season. Obviously, another injury that's delayed his debut. We hope he has a cracker tonight. And I'm sure all the Leigh fans will be cheering him on as well.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, a lot of pressure, I'd say, on KR tonight, and the fact that they're treble winners, and of course, the last 2 World Club Championships has gone to the Northern Hemisphere. That's going to add additional pressure, surely to the Robins tonight.
Yeah, well, like you said, St Helens went down under and won, and then Wigan, they won the Panthers at their place. So it is a massive occasion for them. Obviously, it's the first time they've done it, and it's just going to be a great event. Like Steph says, the build up from 6:30, kick off 7:30, and they've got some big name. Everyone's there who they need, so they can't say we were missing so and so, we were missing so and so. They've got the strongest team out, and hopefully for our side they get it done, and it will help us attract more players, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at the task that they've got tonight, Steph. It's a huge one. All the headlines. I mean, look, the Sky build-up starts at 6:30, and there's no question they're going to be concentrating on number 1, Reece Walsh. And I mean, why wouldn't you? But it's not just about Reece Walsh. They've got so many great players. Katoni Staggs in centre, absolute quality. Mariner had a good season last year on the wing for him. Shibasaki, I can't say it. Bisaki. Shabakasaki. There, I'll go with that. In centre alongside him. Ezra Mam alongside Adam Reynolds in the halves. I mean, again, absolute quality there. Then you've got the likes of Payne Hash, you've got Ben Hunt at hooker. I mean, the list just goes on. Patrick Carrigan. I mean, it really is a who's who of quality NRL stars that they're going up against tonight, isn't it, KR?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and it's going to be really interesting. I mean, you look at that squad. Who's going to miss out? It's just littered with world class players, and none more so than obviously Reece Walsh. But I think Ben Hunt is the one for me. He's a bit like their Jez Litton, isn't he? He gets them around the park. He creates a lot as well, and makes the space for the players like Reece Walsh. And then you've got Payne Haas as well, who's one of the best in his position still. So yeah, it's I'm really interested to see what their 17 is going to be. I think the only plus point for KR in this is that they haven't played any warm-up yet. This is their first game, isn't it? So it's whether they can hit the straps straight away. But for me, I think it's critical that KR get off to a really fast start, and really show them that they've had a couple of games already. I think if Brisbane start to get in front early, then the doubt could creep in for KR then. So the start's going to be critical for me.
Yeah, and the Aussies always point to that, Sharpie, don't they, in the fact that, this tends to be their first game of the season. But as we saw when Penrith lost to Wigan, it hurt Penrith. It hurt them really badly. I just get the feeling that this is a really difficult proposition for KR tonight. I think the fact that, in some key positions, Tom Amone being one, no JWH, Tom Amone comes in, for him to make his debut tonight in prop against a team like this, that's going to be incredibly challenging. I think Brisbane rightly probably going as favourites. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think they would be favourites, especially after what happened last week. But I think that gives the KR fans and things. I put in the WhatsApp and in the members' WhatsApp earlier that it would sum up British sports if they lost last week and then go on to win this week, like contrasting the two teams that played. But I think last week will do them better than if it was just a walkover, because it was a tussle. So I feel like they might have benefited from that and switched on this week and got everything right.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. A big thank you as well. I meant to start the show, had my camera been working properly at the time with this one, but a big thank you to everybody who came to the Bluebell last night in supporting Action for Alfie. Of course, we've been advertising that all the way through this year. We raised over £2,500 for the family, which was absolutely wonderful. So on behalf of everybody to do with Super League Raw and the sales family, thank you so much for everybody who bought raffle tickets, who bought tickets and didn't come, tickets and did come. It was absolutely brilliant. And a big thank you to Steve McNamara, Danny Walker, George Whitby, Jodie Cunningham, and Vicky Whitfield, who all took time out to support it last night. Steph, it was an incredible event, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was great to see so many of the members there as well, and supporting it. And a massive shout out to the people who couldn't attend but still bought a ticket. That just goes to show, the people we've got in our community. It was a great event. It was emotional, but it was also, there was some great laughs in there. And what a superstar Alfie is! He's put you to shame with his questions. I'm definitely calling that one. But no, he's a superstar bloke, and may his wish list come true now. And there's still other things to add to it as well. I know there's still the auction going on for the higher end merchandise stuff, and that's going to raise quite a few £1,000s as well. So, hopefully we'll get past that 10,000 barrier and see where it gets to.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Back to this one though, and a big thank you as well to Simon Shaw, who was there last night. Great to see Si. It's been a while since we've seen him, and in true collaborative style, he sent me this graphic which I thought was interesting. So let's have a chat about this one, boys. NRL appearances in Super League. Interesting. KR third highest with 639 games played by their players in the NRL. Hull FC have the most with 815, St Helens 1100 going into the new season. Really interesting this when Simon sent it to me. 639 NRL appearances among Petter Hiku, Jesse Sue, Carl Lawton, Tyrone May, Jai Whitbread, Reece Martin, Tom Amone, Joe Burgess and Oliver Gildart, Steph. We always talk about how hard it is to play in the NRL. And when these imports come in, we always talk on weekly about how many NRL appearances the imports have had. The fact that, KR can boast 639 between them going into this game, they will be able to tell the team around them what to expect and the high intensity level that Brisbane are going to bring.
The experience is critical, isn't it? And I think sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't, particularly with players that are towards the end of the NRL career. Then that can maybe not be as good as getting someone who's maybe played 20 appearances but is only a 23-year-old. But from an experience wise, absolutely, they will know full well what's going to be thrown at them this evening, and they will be preparing the players that haven't had any international or NRL experience. They'll be giving them some tips and how to cope with it. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game. It could go either way, and it's just exciting. As a rugby fan, I'm excited for tonight. I can't wait.
It's going to be a phenomenal game, and I do think I think the edge battle is going to be incredible. I really do. Adam Reynolds for me is going to be a big person to watch in this game. I've always admired Reynolds. I think as a game manager, in-game kicker, I think few sharper are in that league. I would say Adam Reynolds is top of his craft. I know he's in the twilight of his career, but as he proved last season, he's still got it, and he's going to be great to see him tonight in this game.
Yeah, and he'll marshal the team around the pitch, which you expect me to do as well for KR. They're both experienced, but I think it's just everyone's talking about Lewis and Walsh, and they're the X Factor players. They're the ones that are getting the people in the seats tonight at the MKM.
Absolutely, and rightly so as well. Like I say, look, the bottom line is we're going to leave it to Sky. They're going to build this one up massively from 6:30. We just wanted to talk about it before we move on to the business of Super League and round number 2, gentlemen. I need your predictions. Sharpie, what are you going?
I think it'll be tight in the first half, and then I think it'll be. I'll go Brisbane. I'll go the Broncos 9-17.
The Broncos 9-17. Steph, where do you see it, mate?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to Alex, to be fair. I just think the quality of that Brisbane side, KR are a phenomenal side, and that squad, they couldn't have asked for a better, 1-17. It's their full strength 17. The only person who's a bit unlucky, I think, is obviously Jack Broadbent, but that's the story of his career at KR, isn't it? One we think should be playing Super League week in, week out. But yeah, from a prediction, I'm going to go same as Alex, 9-17 Brisbane.
Yeah, I see it 2 tries to the Broncos, but we do wish the Robins well, obviously representing the British Super League. It's going to be interesting. Of course, Sharpie joined us tonight because as a member of Super League Raw, we do offer the members the opportunity of coming on the Captain's Run, and Sharpie was a late addition to tonight's show, but if you want to join the Captain's Run, if you want to be a part of Instant Reaction that's coming over the course of the weekend, Final Hooter podcast and all the great stuff, do the QR code, go to superleagueraw.com, consider becoming a member. Right, speaking of membership, speaking of competitions, let's check in on the Prediction League. Of course, the brand new Prediction League. This is how that sits. Of course, we'll be talking about this every Captain's Run. The Fantasy League we're doing first. Don't know why there's an eye in that. That's interesting. But we're doing Fantasy League first. Stuart Scaife, Brothers in Arms, 690 points in the Fantasy League. Matthew Simpson, 687. Well done to you. Alan Heaton, he's third. 665 points. Catherine Deering, 652. All hail Caesar. Wonder who she supports. And Danielle Billingham, 651 points. Some fantastic performances there in week one by the members. Many congratulations to them. And of course, at the moment, if that was the final table, Stuart Scaife will be walking off with a Club Wembley ticket for the Challenge Cup final in 2027. Matty Simpson would have his 2027 shirt bought for him, and Alan Heaton would be getting himself a bobble hat or a baseball cap. So very well done. And if you've not joined our Fantasy League, then do so. This is how you can do it. Go to the official Fantasy League game. If you're already playing that game, then just look up Super League Raw 26. You don't need to put anything between that, just Super League Raw 26. Pin number is 12378 if you're listening to the podcast. And the password is capital S, small L, capital R, hashtag 2026. And come and pit your wits against us here at Super League Raw. Consider becoming a member and get involved in those prizes. We'd love to have you to do that. Right, boys, let's move on to Super League. And as we said in the trailer, the Bradford Bulls take on the Catalan Dragons. The Dragons looking to flame grill the Bradford Bulls at Odsal this weekend. And this is these are the squads. I do hate it when they put it in alphabetical order, I have to say, but that's by the by. But these are the two squads that are going into this game. And to just kick off the debate, I want to start on this one, Sharpie, if we may. The spine of Catalan, for me last week, very, very surprising. Brilliant performances from Sexton, Dodd and Staines. I was surprised. I don't know if you were surprised at how well, I know the conditions were poor, but all three of these on debut for the Catalan Dragons did a sterling job in Super League.
Yeah, and Lewis Dodd, the kicking game was fantastic. I think they played the conditions really, really well. It was like one of the kicks, it was like centimetres from going out. It just stopped, made Huddersfield come off the backfield. So they are very, I think they'll be able to control Catalan around the field this year. And they played a lot of ball in hand. So it'll be a very interesting game tomorrow night, and see if they can do the same at Bradford or if it was just the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be interesting stuff. What impressed me, going back to Lewis Dodd, was he was really taking on the line, which I thought was great. I mean, he had a torrid time in the NRL last year. He's come back. There's a lot of attention on him. He's got his extra year at the Catalan Dragons. But this was a Lewis Dodd performance that basically shouted from the rooftops, I'm going to show people that I am a good rugby league player, and it starts now. I was really impressed with how he attributed himself in that game.
Yeah, I mean, although his time in the NRL wasn't blessed with, lots of appearances, what he will have been is, training and going alongside some quality players in his own teammates. His fitness looked fantastic. So that's another thing you'll have picked up over there. He was a good player at St Helens. It was only towards that final season where I think he dropped off a little bit before he went to the NRL. But he started really well for Catalan, and he looked comfortable in that system as well, which obviously helps. And I think having Sexton alongside him takes that bit of pressure off him as well. He doesn't need to do all the flashy stuff. But yeah, seeing him take on the line, we didn't see a lot of that at St Helens. So that was an interesting attribute that he's added to his game. So yeah, good for him.
I thought it was a massive improvement in terms of game management as well. I mean, and that showed in the possession stats, 59% possession to Catalan in that game. If you haven't got the hands on the ball, there's very little you can do. And I just felt that they control the game so well in what was shocking conditions down in Catalan. It looks as though we're going to have a slightly drier track this weekend. Based on what we saw, Sharpie, do you expect the Catalan Dragons to really put the foot down at Todsall on Friday and get a comfortable win here?
I don't know if it will be very comfortable because I think Bradford, even though they lost against FC, they showed a lot of heart and they were throwing the ball about. You can see that the coaches brought a bit of the Salford DNA in with him, where they were throwing it from side to side. I think last week, Waka Blake, he played fantastic and was freeing up his winger. So as long as they stay with them, but in my predictions on the members Super Bro, I have gone with Catalan to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Steph, would you agree? Do you see this as a Catalan win?
Yes, I do see it as a Catalan win. I think that team that they've got there is very strong. I think Bradford will do well. It's a big occasion. Obviously, the first Super League game back at Odsall for a long time, isn't it? And I know they'll have the place rocking there as well. So, plus encouraged from that performance against FC. I thought they were brilliant in that game. And very unlucky, to lose it in the end. But I just think that spine of Catalan has surprised me how good they've started, and I think that could be the difference. Charlie Staines was brilliant for them as well. So yeah, another really interesting one, and I don't think it'll be a good idea. I think it'll be another close one like FC, but I think Catalan will just have too much for them.
I just think middle unit here, and I think this is a real test for Brad. I mean, don't get me wrong, they attributed themselves really well last week, but I do think the conditions maybe just kept the scorelines a little bit closer in those games. It's going to be very interesting to see how Catalan go in this, because if they win and win well against Bradford, I think people will all of a sudden be thinking Catalan could be rising again in 2026. It's early days, it's only round one, but for me, was I expecting that Catalan performance against Huddersfield? Not a bit of it. I thought they were very good indeed. I'm going to go Catalan as well, probably by a couple of scores. But yeah, fascinating game. I'll tell you now though, we like to celebrate here at Super League Raw the gladiators and what they produce. And Ethan Ryan, he's been at Bradford a couple of times in his career, but when he plays, I think on Friday night, he will be getting his 100th appearance for the Bradford Bulls. So many congratulations to Ethan Ryan with regards to that. Right, let's get into a right juicy game. This is going to be a belter. It is the Saints taking on the Leopards, and I put on the graphic there for the purposes of the podcast. Hastings against Lamb, round one. Yes, the Man of Steel 2019, going up a contender in 2025, and I'm sure it'll be a contender again in 2026. Lachlan Lamb got off to a great start last week, did Lachlan, against the Leeds Rhinos. Boys, I don't know about you, but these type of contests, we always feature these on the Captain's Run. These type of contests are why people go and watch the great game of rugby league. Sharpie, how excited are you to see Hastings and Lamb go toe-to-toe on Friday night?
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to be there last week supporting Leeds and watching Lamb firsthand. We all said that I believe he got the most assists last year on Ian off 41 or 42, I believe it was, something close to that. And
well, I'll help you out, sir. There you go. But I was helping him out. Yeah, you're back. There you go. You're back. Go on. Oh.
What? So 41. The assist, and we said if he had more tries. In week one, he went over the line last week against Leeds. And if you look at that, there's not much. Obviously, Hastings got man of steel in his year when he put them figures out, and the figures, Lamb's not too far behind. It's just a more competitive season league, I believe, now than back then as well. So yeah, it's fascinating. It'll be a fascinating game. I think Saints have to bounce back from what happened at Wire, and Lee's got the momentum. They've got the first win, and a lot of people have them up there this year. So I think it'd be a very good game, this one.
Yeah, I mean, both Saints and Leigh, when the fixtures came out, they'd have both looked at it, Steph, and gone, that's a tough first two games for both sides. And this now, because Saints lost at Warrington, there's going to be a bit of onus there. I mean, just from your perspective, you heard what Sharpie said there about perhaps back in 2019, the league wasn't as competitive when Hastings won that manner. Still, would you concur with that? And would you say that Lamb is incredibly on a par with Jackson?
It's quite difficult, really, because the two players that are opposite ends of the careers, aren't they? So I think Lamb's still got a lot to do. I think he was unlucky last year not to be Man of Steel. I think he was that good for Leigh, but Connor was also exceptional for Leeds. So you could definitely say he deserved it. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle between these two, and like you said, both sides will have looked at this as a real benchmark for round two. Leigh have got an incredibly tough start. I think only bettered really by York, who've got a horrendous fixtures for the first 5 games. But we've got Leeds, St Helens, Wigan, Catalan, who's looking ominous now as well, and Wakefield. So. But yeah, Leigh will definitely want to put in a big performance here and really, set a platform. If we can tick off Leeds and St Helens in 2 weeks, I think that'd be a massive sign for Leigh going forward.
100%. I mean, just for the purposes, again, of the people that are listening to the podcast, hopefully on the way to the MKM Stadium, we have got a graphic on screen on the webcast, and it's comparing and contrasting Jackson, Hastings and Lamb. I'll just go through it for you. And this is 2019 versus 2025. Lamb against Hastings. Hastings, 32 appearances in 19 to Lamb's 29 in Super League last year. 8 tries for Hastings, 4 for Lamb. But the assists, 36 for Hastings in 19, 41 for Lamb in Super League in 2025. Breaks to Jackson, 21-7. Attacking kicks, 143 to 96, again in Jackson's favour. Jackson carried the ball more, 563 times to Loughlin's 320, and meters made, non-surprisingly, 3,763 Hastings to 1,292 for Lamb. Steph, would you put that down to Lamb? For me, he almost picks and chooses. He's not a player that demands the ball all the time. He just pops up, doesn't he? And it's almost like he knows when he needs to impact the game, whereas Jackson's all over it.
Yeah, I think the difference is how well Lamb reads the game and picks his moments. I think you're spot on to call it. He doesn't demand the ball all the time, and I think that's why Leigh have brought in Adam Cook as well to take some of that responsibility off him, which should take Lamb to the next level again. But what you do get from Lamb when he does do something, normally it involves something very good, and his assists. The one what he assisted for in his seniors try at the weekend, that was a one-handed throw, inch perfect, straight into the path of in his senior with 3 or 4 Leeds players around him. So there's not many, I think, would have got that ball away, and that's where his quality is, his distribution. But also for his try as well. He picks he doesn't run it a lot and doesn't take the line on a lot, but when he does, there's normally an opportunity there for him.
Yeah, I mean, Sharp, you saw Lamb and Ipape up close last week. Is it fair to say that Lamb's picked up from where he left off in 25?
Yeah, and a point I was going to make there, Dave, was there's question marks about who will partner Hastings this week, because obviously what's happened to Wellesby, will they put Sale at a fullback and make Hastings have another partnership, and Lamb's going to be settled from last week? Him and Cook can move on to this week, and they've already had a game together. Will St Helens keep the same structure or move Sailor? So there's going to be a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of I've lost my way there. There's going to be a lot of concentration on them too. And like you say, Edwin, he was fantastic last week. And with this new ruck speed, if it does get monitored the same way all season, I think he will be in the dream team for Hooker of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, he did start incredibly well. I mean, look, again, there's a lot of rumours floating around in terms of what Paul Rowley will do. Those rumours at this moment in time, that Sailor will go to fullback. It will be Sailor that he puts at fullback, not Nenny McDonald, and Johnny Lomax, Steph, expected to return to the fold. What's your initial reaction to that?
It's what I would do. I'm sick of saying it on these programs that Sailor isn't a 6, he's a 1. I think that's where he'll have the most impact. I think Nenny could do a great job there, and he prefers playing fullback, I believe. But I think he'll be more threat for them in the centre position or on the wing. So for me, I think the right call is to do that and put Lomax in, or even young Whitby, who we had the pleasure of his company last night. If it was up to me, I would probably leave. I'd probably leave Lomax in this hooking role, which I think we're going to figure heavily in this year. And I'd put George Whitby in, throw him at the deep end, get him a bit of game time early on, and see how the young man does.
Yes, well, I don't think George will be playing. I'm afraid I'd love to have seen George Whitby brought in for this one. I really would. I have to say, if they're going to put Sailor at fullback, it'd have been great to see the young lad get a game. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Yes, we're live. We're actually live tonight. The podcast isn't going out live, but the webcast is going out live. The reason for that is a little bit about the graphics, Kerry Gracie, and she's loving the graphics. Yes, these things set down and put together. Yours truly had a bit of a lie-in this morning after a very late night last night with the Action for Alfie fundraiser. Yeah, shoot me. It'll be better next week. It has been a bit of a rush, but yeah, I'm really pleased that people are enjoying the fresh approach that we're bringing to the captain's run this week. Right, hold your glasses. This is another rumour that is going round. And Alex, I want to get your take on this. The rumours are, and how true this is, I don't know, that it's going to be a centre partnership of Nene McDonald and Dion Cross with Harry Robertson on the bench. Now, if that's true, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that will be shocked me because I've got Robinson high up. I think he's got a very good chance of getting in the World Cup team as well at the end of the year. I don't know. Crazy that, yeah. I think you'd have him over Dion Cross in the middle, in the centre, surely. And leave him on the wing.
Well, it's just rumours, and like I say, and that's why I'm bringing it up. There's just rumours going around. You know what it's like in rugby league. But yeah, rumours are going around that could be what Paul does. And in a week, Steph, where let's be fair, Mike Rush leaving the club, etc., etc. If that is true, I just can't see how it can be. But if it was true, that is quite a card to play, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, that's as big as taking, Amaya Hanley not playing for Leigh. Robertson's class. He's already proved that he's had his breakout season. He's been phenomenal for them. So I just can't believe that they would do that unless there's an injury. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, we don't normally peddle rumours at Super League Raw. We tend to stay away from them. But like I say, I've heard that from a few sources, which is very. I think that could be a little bit of master, just deflection, maybe. I don't know, but hey, it's going to be interesting. Imagine that. What time will it be? It'll be normally about 6:30, won't it? Tomorrow night when the teams come out. Whoa, keep your eye out for the Saints squad tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Could be interesting. Let's see what happens there. Right, boys. Sharpie, I'm going to start with you. You saw Leigh in close quarters. Your Mila Hanley in the squad potentially to return for them as well. How do you see this one going, mate?
I think there's a lot going on at Saints and the injuries and in the media, there's a lot going on. So I think Leigh will tip it again. I think they'll go 2 from 2 by 1 or 2 tries. So I've got 9 to 17, but the low end of 9, yeah.
Steph?
Yeah, well, Leigh, the big ones for Leigh is that Isaac Lee, who's going to be playing in this one. Amaya Hanley won't play in this game. He'll be another couple of weeks yet before he's playing, so they don't have to worry about Amaya. But Isaac Louis will be coming back in, and I think Aaron Penney is also coming back in. So that should add a bit more size to the Leigh pack as well this week. So it's going to be a really interesting game. I know Saints will have that stadium rocking. I know they're planning a big light show beforehand and stuff. So yeah, really, really looking forward to the match, and it should be a really good experience. I'm going to back Leigh. I think it'll be close though. This could even be a golden point one. But I'm going to back Leigh 1-8.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I saw Saints at close quarters last week. I think Saints, once we get to probably rounds 3-4, I think things will be looking a little bit sharper for Saints, and I think we'll start to see what they're about. But I think, yeah, I just think that because Leigh have got a more settled squad, and structurally and all the rest of it, they're pretty much plug and play from 25. I do give them the advantage going into this one. I'd like to think it'll be a closer game than perhaps it was at the Halliwell Jones last week for St Helens. I'd like to think that the two sides will be a little bit closer, but ultimately I'm with you. I think could only be a score 2 maximum, I think, for Leigh. I'd like to think that Saints will give a really good account of themselves in this one. Dion Cross, if he does play, it'll be his 200th career appearance, which, well done to Dion if he gets that one. But hey, there you go. Fascinating fair. Right, let's move now to Sharpies. Leeds Rhinos. Yeah, let's get to this one. A Yorkshire night to remember, no less, at the AMT Headingley Stadium as Mark Applegarth's York Knights, after a brilliant win against KR, back up against the Leeds Rhinos. Sharpie. Off the back of what happened at York last week, perhaps Leeds will not be taking this for granted. They will, I'm sure, show York the full respect.
Yeah, I believe they will, and I believe that that's something Brad Arthur will put into the team as well, because he showed he put a fairly strong team out to get witness in the cup as well. With the injuries aside, so we've got a few returning this week as well. So hopefully they take it serious and not just to warm them back up for next week. As next week is only 2 points, it's round 3. It's just in a different destination. And with losing last week, it's a must-2. It's a must-2 points as well to get us back, to get the ball rolling for 2026.
And of course, the big news when the graphic came out for the team selection was that Maker Sivo will be making his long-awaited, or we believe he'll be making his long-awaited debut for the Leeds Rhinos, of course, having suffered that terrible injury last year that kept him out for the season. How excited are you as a Rhinos fan to be seeing this, arguably one of the top wingers in the NRL on his day, put on that Rhinos shirt in Super League for the first time?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of attention on him, and he's coming with a lot of expectation. But this will be his first game. I think he done his leg against Wigan, running out to get Benvin French in the friendly last January. So this will be his first game in 13 months. I do know, after watching Brad Arthur's press conference, he's got him down to 108 kilos and not 120. He's kept giving him weight loss journeys to get under. And he did say he had to play this game if he wants to be in contention for Vegas. So I've been watching the same video of when he sprinted on Boxing Day past Wakefield for about 13 months. So I'm excited to get a new highlight reel to watch. Hopefully it's from tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Steph, Sivo, yes, he's in the twilight of his career, but, I don't know if you saw the press conference, Steph, but what Brad Arthur basically did with Sivo, he said, you can have either the number 2 shirt or the number 22 shirt. And in order to get the number 2 shirt, I'm going to give you weight targets to hit. And he's hit every single one I'm coming under. So that says to me that Sivo is desperate to get back on the field of play and prove once more what a great winger he is.
Yeah, and Leeds fans should be very encouraged by that. We all know how lethal he can be. And I think it's great for Super League that we're going to get to see him all the way a year delayed. But he'll give that bit of confidence and that competition as well for that wing spot. They've got, Lum, Ryan Hall, Sivo, Hanley can play there when he comes back. So there's some good competition there for Leeds, and they'll have to be on form to keep the spot. But yeah, I think that's it's really interesting, isn't it, when coaches give you those little glimpses into the motivational bits, and this is what makes good coaches really good, isn't it? And gets the best out of players, and for him to have earned that number 2 shirt, as that should be a really good sign for Leeds fans, and hopefully we see some brilliant performance from him and he stays healthy.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Sharpie, from your perspective last week, losing out to, of course, Leigh. George Brown came out of that with a lot of fanfare. So much so that Jackson Field, who by all accounts now for you, Sharpie, after being on the bandwagon for 4 years, that he was the messiah on his way to the number 7 shirt at Leeds. How quickly you turned, sir! Forgive me, is this Mitauti? He weren't in the squad last week, was he, or was he?
No, he was injured as well, so he's back.
Yeah.
So we've got out of that team, we've got Sevo back, we've got Connor, we've got Palacia, they keep calling him Jerry, and we've got Cameron Smith. So I think we've got 5 back, yeah. So we've hopefully it's more settled. That's the team that's been doing pre-season. Hopefully we see more shapes against York. And like you say, York, though, they've got 5 players returning Leeds who used to play for us. They've got Jones Bishop, they've got King, they've got Fields, Sangar, McShane. So they'll all turn up with a bit of a point to prove as well. So we can't take them lightly, as KR proven last week, 19-18. And they got the job done in 2 points, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, look, if Jake Connor's back, that might mean that George Brown misses out. Do you expect Jake Connor to play in this one, Sharpie?
From the press conference, Dave, I do, because he said that he'll play, yeah.
Well, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. And Steph, I was really, really impressed with Hingano against KR in the halves for York Knights. So, again, I think, in that engine room, it's going to be fascinating to see both Liam Harris and Hingano going up against arguably one of the strongest partnerships in Super League 2025, Jake Connor and Brodie Croft, to see how they attribute themselves going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, well, they were great, weren't they, in round 1? But for me, going to Headingley is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Like Alex said, there's a couple of ex-Leeds players there, so they'll obviously be talking this week about the experience of going to Headingley. But for some of those York players, this will be the biggest stage they've played on for some of those. So it's a terrific, my favourite ground in Rugby League, Headingley, and they'll go out there and they'll enjoy it, and obviously very confident from that round 1 performance. And if they can keep the defence up like they did against KR, and there's no reason why they can't. We're talking Hull KR here. Yeah. That will cause Leeds some problems. But when you've got players like Jake Connor returning, that's going to cause some headaches for that defence. It'd be interesting to see what the weather's like as well, and whether that will affect the game. Hopefully, it's a dry track, and we get to see the best of both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. It should be a fascinating game. This, nobody expected York perhaps to be coming into this with a win and being above Leeds, Sharpie in the table. There you go. That's an interesting one, isn't it? We may as well, just for the York fans there, we'll get that one in early. But I don't know about you, but Sharpie, I was really impressed with Ollie Field, the interview that we showed on Weekly.
Yeah.
Former Rhinos, and I know that you watch, underneath the first team. You, like me, you're very, very keen at reserve and academy level. Didn't work out for Ollie at Leeds, but this is going to be a great occasion for him and his family to go back to his boyhood team, put on that York shirt, and he was outstanding in defence against Hull KR. So you as somebody who watches the Rhinos must have been really pleased for Ollie last week.
Yeah, and I've seen the interview where he said he's going to put his family in the Western Terrace as well instead of the Leeds end. Obviously, he grew as a Leeds player, but obviously for whatever reason and how strong our youth system is, he got let go. He's went to York and he's proved himself. He extended his contract last year and then he's extended it again for Super League. So they're expecting big things from him. And like you say, the full York team on the defensive line, I think they defended 15 sets at one point, 15 phases at one point to keep York KR out.
Well, when Ollie said hanging tough in training, I thought they were putting new kids on the block on the ghetto blaster. I don't know anyway. But anyway, Shelby, we've got a real pressing one before we get your predictions from this. It was great to see Simon Shaw at the fundraiser side. Good evening to you. He's in the chat and he's asking a really serious question. Do you really wear Jackson Field pajamas? Is that what he's saying? Is that true or false?
Oh, it could be true, could be false.
Well, all I would say is probably false the amount of times you're bare-chested on socials, mate. But anyway, that's another story. You have to become a member to see Sharpie and all of his birthday suit. But anyway, that's another story. Boys, I've got to push you for a prediction, Steph. Can York go back-to-back, or do you expect Leeds to get off and running?
I think with the players that Leeds have got coming back in, I expect them to have too much for York. I think Alex will be sick if they lost this one. But I don't expect that to happen. I think York will do another really good performance. But I think the class, especially at Connor and Croft, will just be a bit too much for them, and I could see Sivo getting a try on debut in this one as well. But I don't think it'll be a hammering. I'm going a Leeds win by 9-17.
Right, 9-17. Sharpie, do you see it bigger than that or not?
I have. I've went 18 plus, and the reason is before Mikey Lewis got a red card, it was 18-6 to KR, and everything was KR's way. The momentum swung when Mikey done the trip and the scored where he should have been. I also, against Leigh, we had 22 play the balls in the last 20 metres, and Jake Connor's back with it, so he'll be able to unlock the defence, hopefully.
What odds on a Jake Connor yellow card? Anyway, we won't go there. We won't go there. Ryan Hall needs 3 tries. Could happen. And if he did, he'd be on to 350 for his career. What a career for Ryan Hall that'd be. And Jordan Thompson, the loose forward of York Knights, he needs this appearance to get 200 appearances in Super League. So many congratulations, certainly to Jordan, because he's going to hit that milestone. And should a hat-trick happen to Ryan Hall, what a feat that is. 350 in his career. Incredible. Right, let's go to the Prediction League. Let's give you, again, this is a new one for the Captain's Run this year. The Super League Raw Prediction Lead in association with Super Brew in 2026. This is the leaderboard. Here it comes. And as you can see, Oliver Lark is top alongside Carr Taylor, 6.25 points. And then we've got loads in joint third. Forget the numbers, they're all joint third. We've got Andy Bibby, Jody Lilly, myself, Ian Rhodes, Heather Bailey, Daniel Mulgrew, and Craig Lilly as well, all in on 6 points. So a really good first week. If you haven't done your predictions yet, folks, get them in. They are due. Don't, whatever you do not put your predictions in. And if you're part of the Fantasy League, make sure you do your squads. Check over your squads. For example, if you've got Warrington Wolves players in your Fantasy League squad, they're not playing this week. You may as well transfer them out, or you're going to lose some points. If you want to join the Super League Raw Prediction League, this is how you do it. You go over to Super Brew. You basically fill in all your details. If you're already on there, just look up the Super League Raw 2026 Prediction League. Get involved. We'd love to have your company in that competition. Winners, if you remember, are going to be getting 250 quid towards the season ticket in 2027, a replica shirt for second, and a hoodie for third. So well worth becoming a member and getting involved in another fantastic competition. Right, let's move on to the next game, boys, and it should be a little belter. I don't know why that one's come up. Let's do that one first. I do like a good graphic. Oh, yes. Toulouse Olympique taking on the Castleford Tigers. Toulouse, a brilliant win against Wakefield Trinity last week at the DIY Kitchen Stadium. They're going to be going up against the Castleford Tigers side without Blake Taff. I said that in the trailer to tonight's show. What a gutter, just like Mikasivo last year. In comes Blake Taff, marquee signing for the Castleford Tigers, and he's out for the season. Boys, like me, first and foremost, Steph, gutted we're not going to be seeing Blake Taff in 2026.
Yeah, obviously we only got a glimpse of him in that 80-minute performance at the weekend against Wigan. Looked like he could be a really exciting player for them. It's you never want to see ACL injuries, but unfortunately we're seeing them more and more, aren't we? Just whether that's factually correct or not, it just feels like it, doesn't it, with ACLs? But we wish him a speedy recovery. I know they brought Ashton Goulding in the other day, so that'll bolster their squad. But for me, I think this has got to be an opportunity for Fletcher Rooney. I know they played senior there last season as well, but we want to see these young lads, like we've seen with Flanagan, like we've seen with Dagnall at Saints and Whitby. We want to see these young lads getting the chance. So for me, I think I would stick with Fletcher Rooney, and I'd maybe even spend that money on a middle at Castleford and strengthen the middle. But obviously, that's up to Chris Chester, isn't it? What they do there.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I think based on the depletion in the back line that they've got, I can't see how Fletcher Rooney isn't going to play in this game, quite frankly. And it'll be fascinating to see how he goes. Sharpie, another player in the Castleford team that is also going to be interesting to see is George Hurst, of course, coming in from Wigan on loan at Castleford. We haven't seen much of him. I'm going to be really interested to see if he does play, what this lad's all about, because he's,
Yeah, well, he come to Wigan last year. It was their only signing, I believe, or one of only a few. And for some whatever reason, he never really got an opportunity last season. If they see him for the future, that's up to them. As you say, it's a month loan. So I'll be happy to see how he goes as well. Yeah, and I thought just on the injury, the fullback, I thought he was very good last week. It's just he was bandaged up and he just kept going as well. He went to the final whistle, even though it was done before that. So credit to him, but it's sad to see them miss out. So hopefully they bring someone else in, yeah.
Well, you say credit to him, that might have made it even worse. And we've seen this a couple of times. Matty Ashton last year for Warrington should have been took off, wasn't took off. Did that aggravate it further? When he went down and he got up, and he was already strapped that knee, you just felt get him off, and they didn't for whatever reason. And whether that made it worse or not, we'll never know. But one player who was incredible was Ollie Ashelbot. I mean, he was absolutely superb for Toulouse. Two very well taken tries, 10 tackle busts in the game, 163 metres from 19 carries. I've always liked Ashelbot. I think he's a good, honest player, Steph. Didn't quite work out for him at Huddersfield, but since he's gone to Toulouse, both in 22 and now, he's been one of Toulouse's shining stars in Super League on both occasions thus far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're littered, aren't we, in Super League with some great fullbacks. He's definitely added to that list in Super League now. He's been a brilliant performer for them in the Championship. It's great to see him getting his second chance at Super League. I thought he was fantastic against Wakefield. He had a superb game. Along with most of I think pretty much all the Toulouse players were 7, 8 out of 10 for me. I thought they were really, really good. And a bit like with York and Bradford, what's really surprised me with these teams is the fitness levels and being able to go toe to toe, because they'll it's a big difference between Championship Rugby and Super League, and to get up to speed so quickly. I mean, some people argue the normal Super League sides aren't up to speed yet, but to still go toe to toe with them and look, in some instances, the fitter sides as well in those games. That's a credit to their strength and conditioning department, definitely, that they've been able to get up to speed so quickly.
Sharpie, if Castleford were to go to Toulouse, they've got some big personnel missing in that squad. They were to go to Toulouse and lose. It's only round 2, and I get that. But when you look at the depth of Castleford squad, it isn't littered, in mega numbers down the roster. Ryan Carr all of a sudden will probably be awakened to the fact that this is going to be a tough year for Castleford again. I mean, I know it's only two games in, but I get the feel. I just feel that Castleford need a performance here.
Yeah, they do. And next week, Dave, I believe they've got Huddersfield. So if you look at the way people have predicted the league and stuff, and you look at Cass, if they want to improve on last year, they need to beat the 3 that come up and Huddersfield and the teams around them. So the next 2 weeks is massive for Cass, even though it's so early, just to get that momentum going, as momentum can go the other way, and you just start rocking up the losses, as we've seen from Warrington in 23 and Leeds in 22. Even the best teams can, once you start losing 1 or 2, you start doubting yourself and you start losing more games on the trot. So I think it's a big game for Castleford. I think they do have to come away with a win. There was good signs from the new winger, the number 5. Obviously, he dropped the ball twice and the momentum swung Wigan's way, but I thought they had an excellent game. But like Steph said, to lose at Wakefield, they just never give up. And you always thought that they were in with a shout, and when Wakefield scored, it was like they give up and thought the job was done, but Toulouse just kept battling. And it's a homecoming for Toulouse as well, so hopefully a big crowd, first time in Super League again since 2022. Hopefully they get a few through the gate, as I've been over there myself and it's a good stadium. It's a big stadium, and the weather, I don't know what it's like now, but when I was there, I couldn't breathe. It was that hot. So it's a massive. I think this one's a massive game to see where people are going to be, because if Toulouse are 4 points ahead of Castleford going into round 3, it doesn't sound much, but it is trying to peg that back when you're not going to be favourites in many games is a hard job.
I mean, look, I don't want to be. We did the after show after weekly, and Graham, one of our members, was me and him had a little bit of a polite disagreement in how important this game actually was. Steph, do you agree that as Sharpie's rightly said there, these are the games that all of those teams at the bottom, these are the games that they will be marking down as must wins for their season. Not Castleford and Toulouse are going to put Wigan and KR down as must wins, but they are going to put each other down as must wins. It does have the feeling that Castleford need a result.
Yeah, a little bit, and I think more for the impact it has later down. I mean, even if they lose this one, there's nothing saying Castleford can't go on a run. But as we saw with Leeds last year, they had an unexpected loss to Catalan, which gifted Leigh third place. These games can be so important for your final league position, because I think it will be that tight in the middle of Super League. So it'll be, I think, like you said, for Cass against Wigan, they would probably have expected that loss, but they would have 100% at the beginning of the season gone, this is a 2 points for us. This gets us going. Basically our season starts in round 2. And if they did lose this one, then that would be not a disaster, but it would definitely be a backward step in their plans. But could the unthinkable happen and Toulouse be on 4 points after round 2? That for me is probably more of a story than Castleford. That'd be an incredible start to their Super League lives.
Well, let's do it then, Sharpie. Over to you. Prediction.
I was just going to, sorry, Dave, quickly. I was just going to pick up on what Steph's saying as well. Yeah. It's not like when 10th played 12th 3 times now. There's no loop fixtures, so this is a must win, because you don't get like the chance to get 6 points no more. It's home and away. That's it. Apart from Magic, so that's how big it is. I've gone Cass after what I watched against Wigan. I've gone Cass 1-8.
Steph,
I think that Taff injury is going to really affect them. If the Cass are going to win, I think Fletcher Rooney needs to play fullback, and he needs to have a blinder for them as well.
Well, in the chat, Steph, that's been confirmed that Rooney is playing fullback.
Brilliant. Well, that's brilliant news for Castleford. I just think the performance against Wakefield will have really galvanised that Toulouse side and given the most dangerous thing in rugby league, which is belief. And going to the Stade Ernest Wallet, I'm sure they'll have a massive crowd there. They'll be really wanting to get that first home victory. So I'm going to go a really tight game again, but I'm going to go Toulouse 1-8.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm going exactly the same. I think Toulouse could do this. I have to say, I thought Tom Weaver looked good for Castleford, and I think you mentioned Rooney. I think Weaver and Assey are massive, absolutely massive for Castleford in this. What a game! I mean, I for one will be tuning into this. I tune into them all, but I mean, I'm really looking forward to this, because I do think early on, in terms of those bottom places that everybody expect these to be, jostling for positioning, this is it's a big game for me, and I don't mind building a game like this up. I know it's Toulouse against Castleford, but we love our rugby league. What's not to like about Toulouse Castleford this weekend? It's going to be a great game. Really, really looking forward to it. Right, let's turn our attention to another, on paper, for me, brilliant game on the horizon. The Wigan Warriors going up against Hull FC. These two teams have delivered some really good tussles in the last couple of years. Of course, we all know what Hull FC did to Wigan in the Challenge Cup last year. And of course, a familiar face is returning to the Brick Community Stadium. And I caught up with Cade Ellis to discuss that very player. Hi, Cade. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well. A familiar face returning to Wigan this week in the young Harvey Hill. Looking for, it should get a great reception. Looking forward to going up against your old teammate.
Yeah, that's good. He's a good young player. I always had praises for him before he sort of started playing with us. I speak to Matty about him a lot back in the day, and sort of had big raps on him, and always loved playing with him. He's just a competitor. and he's very tough. So expect that this week. He's he played him in the trial, and he was a bit of a handful, and he likes to get a bit lippy too. So he's quite a funny fella. So no, looking forward to that. Looking forward to playing them in general. So it's always tough playing against Hull.
What do you expect from him? Obviously, you've seen him at close quarters. What's he going to bring to Hull, and what would you expect from Harvey Hill in the long term?
I think where he'll get to, he's still only a kid. I think down the road he'll be one of the best front rowers in Super League, if not potentially the world. If he ends up progressing to England. Just his attributes, he plays the game the right way. He's tough first, and then he's got good skill as well. But he's a handful with the ball. He's a big, strong fella, so very hard to get down. And then defensively, he just doesn't stop. Like I remember we played with him last year, and he'd be out on his feet, and you ask him to do something, and he just continually does it. So he's got high standards, and he's a good lad as well, which makes it even better. So I think there's a big future ahead for him.
And in terms of these two teams, they look very similar in terms of styles. Mobile elements of the pack, big units in the pack, and of course very expansive outside backs. It should make for another barnstorm. There've been some really good games that you have been competing with Hull over the last few years. This should follow suit, shouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, the last couple of times they've come and played us here, and then vice versa, you go out there and play. It's been very close, always physical games. They're a big side, but like you said, they're very mobile and skillful. They throw the ball around, but then they're happy to tuck it up and cart it forward. It's it's very hard there. I guess you always don't know what's coming, so it's a good thing. It's good for us, and like us as well. Like we're going to do that as well. We're going to go hard and throw the ball around, and then defensively, hopefully give it to them a little bit. So should be a good one.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Best wishes to you. Go well.
Thank you, Matt. Cheers.
Cheers, David.
So there you go, an exclusive here at Super League Raw. A little chat with Kane Ellis, giving big raps, of course, to Harvey Hill, who moved over to FC for the 2026 season. And we're going to go there straight away, Sharpie. The big number 4 not there. Another hammer blow to Super League after round 1. We've lost so many stars. Blake Taff, we've lost Jack Wellsby, and now you can add Jake Wardle to that list. He's going to be out for 3 months. That is, in a season where Wigan have, lost the likes of Ollie Wilson before he even got the opportunity to play. This is a hammer blow for the Wigan Warriors early doors.
Yeah, it's real big. Obviously, some say he's the best centre that we've got in the Super League, and especially with the World Cup at the end of this year, when you've got Hanley from Leigh and you've got Robinson from Saints and Litton even from FC. The spaces are there for the World Cup when the head coach comes in, and if he's watching games and you're not playing, then he's just going off your name. He's had a few problems with his knee. It was sad to see, and that was heavily strapped, wasn't it, at Cass as well. So it's sad to see such a competitor go in round 1. It's sad to see any player go in round 1. You want the best players on the pitch at all times.
Absolutely, and I know Steph, you'd echo that. I mean, look, Steph, FC last week, yes, they were playing Bradford, but I thought Will Price had probably his best game in an FC shirt, and if he can carry on in that vein, that's potency at fullback for FC. Will's got the game, hasn't he?
Definitely, yeah, and took the drop goal really well as well. Another player who had injuries in that game. He went down on a couple of occasions, didn't he? But yeah, if they can keep Price fit, that's the major thing for them. Him this season, no one's doubting his talents. He went well in the NRL, didn't he? At Huddersfield, he was fantastic. So he's a very important player for FC, and he'll be critical to keep on the pitch.
They expected potentially to come in on the wing with Zach Eckersley going into the centre. That's the expectation for the Wigan Warriors. But these have dished up some incredible games, Sharpie, over the last couple of seasons. FC, incredible, absolutely incredible. That 26-22 win last year in the Challenge Cup took a lot of people by surprise, considering how far ahead of that, Wigan got in that game, and FC pulled them back and won in fine style. And then to go and back that up again when they revisited the Brit community later in the campaign, 32-12, FC have showed they can play at the Brick.
And the season before that, when
Indeed.
FC were getting beat all the time, that they took it by surprise and beat Wigan at their ground as well, didn't they? So like you say, they must get up for this kind of game. And like what you were saying about Will Price, we've seen against Bradford, he was on it. But if you just look at the first 4 names I mentioned on the final hooter, the first 4 names on the Hull FC's list they're all under 23. So the future is bright at FC. If they can keep hold of all them. And obviously, we've just seen Martin sign a massive contract to keep him there for 5 years.
Absolutely, and rightly so. And speaking of Lewis Martin, and Sharpie didn't know where we were going tonight. It's just these things just tend to happen, don't they? Look, we've got the top try scorer 2024 going up against the top try scorer 2025, boys. That's what we've got in this game. Let's compare and contrast. And for the purposes of the podcast, let's do that. Liam Marshall 24 versus Lewis Martin 25. 26 appearances for Marshall, 27 for Lewis Martin. The tries, 27 for Marshall, 25 for Lewis Martin. Busts, 86 for Marshall, 58 for Martin. Breaks, 36 for Marshall, 26 for Martin. Carries, 426 for Marshall, plays 458 for Lewis Martin. And the meters, 3,695 in 24 for Marshall, 3,233 for Martin last year. Steph, we've got to factor into this the experience of Marshall, how long he's been around, etc., etc. For Lewis Martin to be punching those statistics at his tender age, what a player this kid is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marshall's playing in a team that's, going to grand finals. Hull FC were very much improved last year, but still missed out on the playoffs. So to be getting, both these players averaging a try a game, which is a phenomenal average for any winger in Super League, then that bodes well for him. I think he's an exceptional young talent, Martin. Marshall, one of the best to ever do it in Super League in that wing position for consistency. But yeah, like Alex said, the back line, especially now, Hardacre looks like he's picked up a knock. So their average age is coming down by the minute, especially with players like Asiata out still and things like that. So it's going to be very interesting. But FC on the road last year were brilliant. They came to our place at Leigh and gave us a good hiding at the Sports Village. I don't think Leigh beat them last year. And phenomenal performance at the Brick on 2 occasions. So this team is well capable of going toe-to-toe with Wigan, and it's going to be a fascinating game. I'd love to have seen both sides at full strength. I don't think either are, but Wigan not far off. But that Wardle injury is going to be an interesting one. Who did you say they were going to bring in?
I think it's going to be Dayan, who's coming from St Helens. I think the rumour has it they might be putting him on the wing and bringing Zach Eckersley into centre.
Well, that's going to be very interesting because obviously Sambu's a real young talent, isn't it? Yeah. So to see how he goes. And yeah, it's another one what could go either way. You'd expect Wigan to win, but with this FC team, who knows?
It's going to be fascinating. Sharpie, how do you see it going?
Because it's Wigan's first home game, I've gone Wigan 1-8.
Yeah. Steph?
I see a bit more than that. I just think the Hull FC were brilliant when they had Asiata, and I think they need him in this game to have a chance, just to give Caesar that extra time. I'm with Alex. I think Wigan's first game at home, they'll be well up for this one. I'm going to go Wigan 9-17.
Yeah, I think Wigan will go well. I really do. I think Wigan will get the job done. But I'll tell you, FC will make them work very, very hard for those 2 points. It's going to be a belter, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to going down to Huddersfield this Sunday. Super League on tour, Super League Raw on tour. I promised the members this year I'll get around the grounds, and it starts this Sunday. I'll be there with Joel, with Greg, Craig Forfey's coming over, Billy Ingram's coming over. It's going to, and Billy's a Leeds fan, Craig's a Wigan fan, but the Super League Raw community, we like to get to games of rugby league, so we're going to have a great, great time at Huddersfield. If you're a Huddersfield Giants fan, if you're watching us for the first time, the Sportsman is where we're going to be from 12:30 p.m. before kickoff, having a bit of a chat about rugby league, having a couple of beers. Then, of course, we'll make the pilgrimage to the AQ Stadium, and we'll enjoy what hopefully will be a fine game of rugby league between the Huddersfield Giants and Wakefield Trinity. Boys, no squads have been officially released yet, but Caius Fayatilli, I had the privilege of being at the press conference with Darryl Powell today, and he confirmed that Fayatilli will not be back for this game. So that's a hammer blow for Wakefield, because I do think, Steph, they did miss Caius in that game last week.
Well, definitely, he's the a bit like Patrick Mago did for Wigan against Castleford. Changed the game when he came on with his blockbustering runs. So Fatilli's a massive miss. He was one of their standouts, wasn't he, last year, and gives them so much go forward, but also that bit of confidence, and he riles them up a little bit, and he's that flair forward, isn't he, that really gets bums off seats. So that is a big miss for them. But I do expect to see a bit of a kick up the backside this week from Darryl Powell to that team. They underperformed, no doubt. As good as Toulouse were, at times they were disappointed in that game, and they'll know that themselves, and they're capable of much more. So maybe not for Huddersfield, but hopefully for us, we see a better Wakefield performance this week.
And I bet Huddersfield one, Sharpie. I mean, look, both of these two teams losing out in round one. And Huddersfield, like many other teams, traditional Super League teams, have seen Wakefield come back and overtake them. And Wakefield's had a great record against Huddersfield in recent times. They've won the last three against Huddersfield. Huddersfield's last win, a 34 points to 6 winning round in 2023. So, Wakefield go into this with a point to prove off the back of last week. Huddersfield need to improve dramatically as well. In the interest of time, Sharpie, where do you see it going?
Oh, obviously we got it exclusive from yourself, Dave, for being a member, and I seen the way Powell was talking, so I'm just going to go with Wakefield 9-17.
Steph?
I'm sorry to my Fartown contingent, but I think, like I said, I think Powell will have had a rocket up the backside to those Wakefield players. I think it could get ugly for Huddersfield. I'm going to go Wakefield 18 plus.
Well, the fallout on Weekly, if that's the case, will be very interesting because Lou Robinson is, for me, he needs some wins, and in the same spirit as we were talking about Toulouse and Castleford a minute ago. This is a game that Huddersfield and Wakey will be looking at and saying, if they're going to be in and around that 6, which they've got the squads to be, let's be crystal clear, they have got the squads to have a little go at that. These are the games that they've got to come out on top against each other. And if you're right there, Steph, what a talking point final hooter on Sunday with the lads is going to be. The women's tackle talkers on Monday, and of course us on Weekly. That's going to be interesting. And what an addition of instant reaction it's going to be outside Huddersfield Stadium at the end of the game on Sunday. Instant reaction, a brand new feature at Super League Raw. If you haven't discovered us on YouTube, go to our channel, Super League Raw on YouTube. Some great shows, and tonight we'll have instant reaction straight after the World Club Challenge. Sharpie will be getting himself in front of the camera again, I'm sure, at Leeds this week. I will be helping out Joel at Huddersfield. We'll be ringing you loads of great instant reactions, and I'm sure we'll get some from Roldstag and the League crowd that are going down to the Saints. But it's back. We did say, didn't we? Was it going to be back for 2026? And the answer is yes, it is. It is back. Here it comes.
The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Yes, it's time for Bet Steph. And of course, Steph now will be taking us through. I will put them in the bottom of the screen to help him out. Let's start off with the score rackers. Steph, here they come. Walk them through it.
Sorry, you've not got my picture up. That's
No,
three
no,
minutes.
Mate, that'll be back next week. Carry on, mate.
Right,
These
yeah.
are your scores.
Yeah, no problem. So I've gone in the Catalan Dragons, your Knights. Hang on, what have you gone? I can't even remember what I did.
Catalan Dragons minus 8.5, York Knights plus 22.5, Leigh Leopards plus 2.5, Toulouse Olympique plus 4.5, Hull FC plus 14.5, and Wakefield minus 4.5. 45.64 to 1, Steph.
Yeah, so the Catalan Dragons minus 8.5. I think they've got enough to overcome that handicap. So I've gone for them. York Knights is a very generous plus 22. Given their performance against KR, I think that's a really good handicap. So I've gone for York in that one, although I think Leeds will still win. Leigh plus 2.5. Again, very generous from the bookies to giving Leigh a start, given both their sides' performances. But they're predicting a close game, so am I. Toulouse Olympique plus 4.5 against Cass. I think that's a good start for Toulouse to be getting a try. Hull FC against Wigan. I've gone Hull FC plus 14.5. So I do expect it to be a bit closer than what the bookies are thinking then. It's, over 2 scores for FC. I think that's pretty generous as well. And Wakefield minus 4.5. I hope I'm wrong for the Huddersfield fans in that 18 plus, but I've just got a funny feeling that Wakefield are going to put a really big performance in. So, yeah, if you go with that, 45 to 1. So if you bet a pound on that, Dave.
You're going to lose a pound. You're going to lose a pound. It's bad. But, hey, you got one. You got a couple right last year. Let's go to the try scorers. Who have you got?
Well, I've actually thrown a cheeky World Club Challenge scorer in on this one. So I've gone 4 rather than 3 scorers. Reece Walsh, 2 to 1. I think that's a phenomenal bet for any time try scorer for Reece Walsh. And then in the Bradford Catalan game, Charlie Staines, I've gone for him to back up. I think he scored round 1, so to get another try in this one. This will make Sharpie smile. Mika Sivo, I've got him down for his first Super League try this week. And the guy that the Cash fans keep telling me is no good in his senior to back up and score again this week. So if you bet that one, that's 22 to 1 this week on the anytime try scorers.
So there you go. Bet Steph back for 2026. There his predictions, but don't forget, it's the bets to ignore when predicting the score. We always say that. It's the bets to ignore. It's only for fun, but hey, he will bask in his glory if he gets them right again this year. But yeah, if you are going to have a bet responsibly, of course. We don't expect you to go out and do this. It's just for fun. Sharpie, thanks for joining us. Have you enjoyed the captain's run?
I have, thank you. Yes.
Fantastic, mate. I have to say, it did make me chuckle when you were laughing through the titles, mate. I had to smile at that. All you could hear was Sharpie giggling as the titles were running. But anyway, not to worry. At least your camera worked. Who am I to talk, mate? Steph, as always, thank you for your company. Your debut in 2026 on the captain's run, mate. Great to have me all mucker back and alongside me. Yeah, again, ladies and gentlemen, round 1 was incredible. Absolutely incredible. We have got an incredible game tonight at the MKM Stadium. We wish our Robins contingent nothing but the best of luck. You're probably going to need it. There's no doubt about it. It's last two have gone the way of the Northern Hemisphere. Can you make it a hat trick? We're going to find out in a couple of hours' time. The Sky production is starting at 6:30, so we've took you pretty much right up to that, which is absolutely wonderful. And, of course, some incredible games across Super League in round number 2. Will we have more shocks? Will we have some wonderful offloads like we had last week? Will we have some great length for the fielders like we had last week? Will we have some bruising tackles like the George Browner this week? Hey, all I know is we'll be watching every single minute and we will unpack it on Instant Reaction, on the Final Hooter, on the Ladies Tackle Talk, and of course on Super League Raw Weekly, 8 p.m. live on YouTube this Tuesday night. On behalf of Sharpie, Steph, and myself, enjoy round 2 of the Betfred Super League. See you next week for the captain's run. Bye for now.